Today on Hear Them Out with Hannah Mears, I am joined by Michael Kemerer, Iowa Hawkeye Wrestling 174-pounder. Michael, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Not too much over here in Latrobe, per usual. But how's quarantine been over there in Iowa?
It's been good. It's been different. College town, so everything's a lot slower now with not many students here, but some of the guys are still around, so it's good. We're just kind of, following the rules and getting by right now.
How are you personally, mentally dealing with the fact that baseball season may not be a thing? Because I know you're a huge Pirates guy, despite how bad they may be or have been throughout the years. So how have you been dealing with that?
Well, actually, I'm kind of happy because I was expecting a pretty bad season, but now I'm like, if we can get like a 50-game season, they get hot for a little bit, they might be able to sneak something, So this actually might work out, but it is tough not getting to watch them because I always look forward to that after wrestling season. So.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Look, positivity, I like that. Looking
Yeah,
at the things for the Buccos there. You also had to experience a little bit of quarantine. I know you were saying back at home with your sisters. So what was it like being back with your four sisters and your mom in a house, as well as your dad, but five women overall, having to go back after living with strictly guys for the past couple of years?
Yeah. It was them five, and then my girlfriend was there too, so there were six women, and it was different, because I was used to that growing up, but now I'm always here just around a bunch of guys all the time, so I forgot, it's nonstop talking, and it's sometimes they're fine, then all of a sudden they're fighting over stealing clothes and stuff. So it's different. I forget about what it was like, but it was still good to go back and see everybody.
What was the worst part about growing up and being the only brother in the house?
Yeah. I probably just their interests were just different than mine, and I always wanted to go outside and do something outside. My little sister Chrissy, I could kind of get her, I kind of converted her into a tomboy a little bit, I like to think, but if sometimes they'd all be home, they'd just be doing girl stuff inside, and I'd be like, come on, let's just do something. And then it's just tough to get them to want to do all the sports and stuff like that. As they've gotten older, they've kind of gotten more into it, but yeah, there were some times where I was just playing everything by myself, so that was kind of tough, but it is what it is.
If they were all dancers though too, how many dance competitions do you think you've been to on average? Do you think you've been to more dance competitions or more wrestling matches?
Honestly, it probably evens out because my parents were big on they had to come to some wrestling stuff, support me, then I have to go to the dance competitions. And I can just remember I had a few buddies whose sisters also danced, and we would just kind of sit there and play on our Nintendo DS or something like that, because we were always stuck there, and those things can get pretty long. But yeah, I mean, it's just how it was, I guess.
What with that being said, I guess your sisters all were pretty good dancers, pretty competitive, but did you learn any dance skills? Because judging by these Iowa wrestling TikToks that I've seen out, not many of you know how to dance.
No, I wish I could say that that I picked up it was in the genetics or something, but my dance skills are not very good. We do our best. We try to look as good as we can on those, but I like to think I'm at least in the middle of the pack. I mean, some of these guys, they have no rhythm at all, so I try to at least have some of that. But yeah, our TikTok dancing's probably not the best.
Yeah, it's not ideal. What's your go-to dance move if you have one?
I don't know. Probably the easiest thing is just get a little snap in there, just something like
Okay.
that.
So you have
That's
some
pretty
rhythm,
easy.
but
Yeah. You can just chill like that, because if I start getting into the actual dance moves, it's pretty ugly, honestly.
you're gonna embarrass yourself.
Oh, it's bad. It's very bad.
Huh. You would have thought that watching all those competitions you would have picked up something, but the rhythm is at least a start.
Yeah, I'm working on the rhythm, and then we'll go from there.
So speaking of all the TikToks from Iowa though, whose idea was it to start this TikTok trend for Iowa wrestling?
I don't even know. I mean, we just it got big right around the beginning of the season, and then Max Muir a lot of the time would be we'd just be sitting there bored, and he'd be like, TikTok, you want to make a TikTok? And we'd be like, we got to think of something super creative. So it kind of started out with dumb stuff, and then we were on one of the road trips. I think it was Iowa State, and Lugo and I were watching TikToks and we saw like this dance and then we did it. And then we were like, oh, we should try to do that. Like a lot of our like our away matches, make it like a pre-match thing. But it kind of died down, but we did one at Princeton too. It was like the Seahawks one. They did a celebration and they were like this. That was me, Mirren, Cassiope, Nelson Brands, and I think there was one more. But yeah, it's fun. I don't know, just like something to get your mind off. But, you know, you kind of have a lot of time in the hotel, so we started with that, and then obviously this last one for Spencer, that was really fun. That was, you know, quarantine.
I was cringing for you guys during that, but honestly, the message behind it, congratulating Spencer on the Hajj and being excited, you had to overlook like how terrible it kind of was.
Spencer Lee wins Hajj. Spencer Lee wins Hajj? Spencer Lee won the Hajj.
Spencer Lee won the Hajj? Spencer Lee won the Hajj.
Spencer Lee won the Hajj? Hey! Spencer won the Hajj. Spencer won the Hajj? Spencer Lee won the Hajj. Yes!
Yeah, we wanted to make something to congratulate him, and we didn't want it to just be like a corny video, like, oh, congrats, Spencer. But so we were like, let's just do something creative. And then we started watching it as we were making it, and we were like, this is really bad. This is really cringy. So let's just embrace it. And then like we just kept adding to it, like the running and stuff, just trying to be as awkward as possible. And then the ending, you know, was just so cringy, but but it was fun. You know, we had to give him something, so I think he appreciated it. He knows we're kind of a bunch of weirdos, so it worked out.
Should. I mean, TikTok, it's a little hard to maneuver at sometimes. You know, you got to get it just right. So I give you guys credit for at least trying.
Yeah, it was fun. We had Marinelli pouring milk, and he was overfilling the glass, and you can only get one take at that, so we had to be spot on there. So it took a little while.
You had to clean up the milk.
I think Marinelli cleaned it up. I don't know if his wife was too happy about us pouring milk all over the kitchen, but you know, whatever. She got over it.
It was for a good cause.
Yeah, she understands.
So Iowa Wrestling pre-matches, we're making TikToks. That's good to know. I think the fans will enjoy that comment there. But you also, there's a secret on Iowa Wrestling's team. Somebody's a little TikTok famous. Who and how did they get TikTok famous?
So we have this guy on our team. He's a second year, Joe Kelly. And so we were all just like talking about TikToks. We'd like watch TikToks and stuff. Well, we heard like, yeah, Joe Kelly's TikTok famous, and no one knows like his username. Like no one could find him. Like we were trying to find him, we couldn't find it. And finally, I think it was Caleb Young. He found through a classmate or something. He found this guy named Bob on TikTok, and that was Joe Kelly. And he had like thousands and thousands of followers. He's like playing the guitar with a cat in the background, and he's doing all these dances and stuff. And we're like, man, and we were like bringing it up to him, and he was like, it's nothing. So now we always try to track down his TikTok, because I think he's kind of secretive about it, but if he gets too famous, we're going to find out. So it was pretty funny when we all found out about this Bob guy.
Did he say why it was supposed to be a secret? Like, did he just not want you guys to know, or did he not want you in on his fame? Like, that was his own thing?
I'm not really sure. I think he kind of knows that we probably would have given him a lot of crap for it. So he was probably like, I'm just going to do my own thing here. But with us, as soon as one person finds out about it, everyone on the team finds out about it and is bringing it up. So it was pretty funny.
Well, I mean, you guys are also trying to like copy him now though. So he should be proud of it, because his fame might be a little better than the TikToks you guys have been making. So
yeah, exactly. If hopefully we can get to the point where he'll actually let us be in one of his TikToks. But for now, I think he's too famous for us right now. We can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd let you guys in my TikToks just yet. But we'll see.
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking of some hidden talents on Iowa Wrestling's team, somebody recently, before this whole pandemic became as severe as it is, you guys were in Florida, I believe, and there were a lot of things involving Iowa Wrestling and alligators. Can you give me the inside scoop on that?
Yeah, so Pat Lugo, he's from Homestead down there. So he has a buddy that he gives tours on airboats through the Everglades. So
Huh.
so it was really cool to see that. And so we had a bunch of guys. So we had like 13 guys on that trip. You know, like I said, like you said before, all this stuff really they started cracking down. And but we had this one freshman, Kobe Seabrack, and he's a skinny kid, curly hair, and I didn't really know him that well before the trip, but you know, I talked to him a little bit. But we're on this tour, and he's
like
saying,
a quiet guy. Is that why?
he's kind of quieter, I think, yeah, until you open him up. So we're on this tour, and he keeps saying how he wants to jump in on an alligator, and we're like, what the heck, man? Like, don't do that. You know, a couple guys like kind of egging him on. Well, finally we see this baby gator, and he's convinced that he's going to catch it. And the mom gator is probably 10 yards away. I mean, not very far away.
No.
And I was videotaping it, and he ran in there, and he backhanded it, grabbed the gator, picked it up by its tail. And so then everyone was trying to take pictures with the gator and stuff. But I was like, dude, you are crazy. Like, you're going to get attacked by an alligator. And so that's when I kind of figured out.
Right?
Yeah, he's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't
Well,
do that.
has he caught gators before, or was that something he's like, I'm about to like make my mark on this team, and this is what I'm going to do?
I don't know. I think he's just, you know, an Iowa farm boy or whatever, and he just loves to do crazy stuff. And yeah, he reached in and grabbed the alligator, and I was asking like the people that like were showing us around, like, is this something that happens very often? He's like, I've never seen that. So got to give him some credit. You know, we all took pictures with it, acted like we were the ones that caught
like
it.
obviously, like I caught this gator, like it's mine. I'm taking out the
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're all shaking while we hold the gator. So
yeah, like looking around, make sure the mom's not about to like come out.
yeah, exactly. So that was pretty crazy. So that was when I learned Kobe Seabrack, you know, he's a wild man.
Okay, I like that. I like that. There was also something I saw that was really funny. There was a bridge, and a lot of you, okay, I'll give it to you guys, a little more bravery than what you're giving yourself credit for. You may not have caught the gator, but you were taking some chances. What were you guys doing?
Yeah, so there was a bridge that went over where a bunch of the gators hang out, and like I took some videos. Like you can see the gators are literally swimming around there. And the guy that was giving us the tour, he was saying how, you know, sometimes people try to climb across the bridge, and so like monkey bar style, like that kind of. So obviously Kobe Seabrack, he was the first one to do it because he's a wild man. And
Learned a lot about him on this trip.
Yes, we learned a lot about him, and he did it, and then Max Murin did it, and I think Nelson Brands did it too. So I was like, well, I gotta do it. I can't just watch these guys do it. So I did it too.
Like you can't let a freshman like show you up either. So
no, exactly. So
yeah.
Caleb Young did it too. So it was pretty crazy, but you're halfway through and you're like, I don't have a choice now. I got to keep going. So
what was the hardest part? Like, was it like the midway point, or was it like right in the beginning, just even getting yourself going?
Probably getting yourself going. And then this didn't happen to me, but a lot of guys, like their fingers were getting real cut up, and obviously you can't just let go. So some of the guys, their hands were all torn up after they climbed it, just because it wasn't really like meant for climbing probably. So,
yeah, obviously.
so that was an obstacle for sure.
How did you get back? Did you have to go down and then like climb the bridge back, or was there a way to like get off?
No. So we got down, and then we ended up just coming back over the top of the bridge. And then I think the police came or something. We're like, hey, you can't be doing that. So then everyone kind of stopped doing it. But if you could go down and back, that'd be risky.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad nobody fell in, right? Like that was.
Yeah. I heard actually Lugo was taking a video of me climbing it, and he was like saying, I hope he falls in. So I had to remember that whenever I watched the video. I was like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
When you were climbing, could you see any gators like under you, or were they like off to the side, like watching?
I didn't even look down when I was climbing. When I saw other people climbing, you could kind of see them there. But when I was climbing, I did not look down one time because I didn't even want to think about that.
How close were your feet to the water? Like, what if one of them jumped up? You didn't think about that?
I didn't think about that.
This is the most bad thing I've ever heard in my life, because a girl would have thought every worst case scenario through in her head before she decided, and you guys were just like, oh, well, he did it, I got to do it. Like,
yeah, exactly. You just have to be dumb enough to do it, I guess.
Huh. Well, I'm glad nobody got hurt and that it was fun, and now you guys kind of have, you know, gators in your blood, I guess.
Yeah, we always got that now.
Someone else that has somewhat of a hidden talent on your team. During quarantine, I know what a lot of people are saying they wish were essential were barber shops and places to go get your haircut. And I feel that, honestly, like I wish I could get a haircut. I know my little brother and needs a haircut so bad. He's in that like 7th grade phase where he's like pulling his hair and it's the most irritating
Oh
thing
yeah.
in the world. So I heard somebody on Iowa Wrestling has stepped up and showed barber skills. Tell me the background of this.
Yeah, so originally our barber was Coach Morningstar. He would talk about how he could cut everybody's hair. He cut his own hair.
Is he like is he trained in it, or was this a skill that he just decided he has because he's done it once or twice?
I think just self-taught. I mean, these guys, they're from a town called Lisbon, Iowa, and it's a tiny, tiny town, and they're very prideful, and they're prideful in a lot of stuff. And Morningstar was like, "Oh, I can give a great haircut." So he was cutting everybody's hair, but I think he was kind of getting sick of it because, everyone's like after practice, like, "Hey, can you give me a haircut? Hey, can you give me a haircut?" So
was he good at it? Like, were they good haircuts actually? Like, from your opinion, you can tell me the truth.
they were solid haircuts. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like fading guys perfectly and stuff like that, but it was a good buzz cut. I think he gave a couple mullets too, so I got to give him credit. That's not an easy haircut.
No. It takes a certain kind of guy to rock a mullet, let alone maybe like a bad one. So
yeah, exactly. So then, what's that?
Did you let him cut your hair?
Yeah, Morningstar cut my hair. Yeah, all through my first couple of years there, and then so then Zach Axmere, I think he's in his 3rd year here now. He came in as a freshman, and he's also a local Iowa kid. And he was telling everyone how he was so good at cutting hair.
Something about Iowa, huh?
They just love to cut hair. Yeah.
Takes
so
a
anyway,
person to like Iowa, I think. But
what's that?
I said it takes a special person to like really. You have to be born and raised there, I think, to really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, so he came in, and he was also a self-taught barber, and he just loves to give haircuts now, and he took over Morningstar's job, and I haven't seen Morningstar give a haircut in probably a year or two at least. So Axmere is the new barber, and now with all this stuff going on, everyone's calling him up, asking him where he is because so he could make a serious buck if he wanted to, probably cutting hair, but
really could like the black market of like haircuts here.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job, but those guys definitely take pride.
What's the best haircut you've seen him give?
Like
I need to know he's legit, not just like he can give a buzz cut.
I gotta think about it, but I think he's given some pretty good haircuts, like the kind of like the little less on the sides, and then the fades and stuff like that. He's pretty good with it, honestly. So I'll give him credit. It's tough to trust your own teammate at first, maybe because you think they're gonna shave something in the back of your head or something, but he's done a good job, so he's earned everyone's trust.
I like that, but so he's earned everybody's trust, but I've heard that not a lot of people trust you anymore, and Iowa Wrestling gets kind of competitive with games. So what games is Iowa Wrestling playing in their free time, and why don't they trust you anymore during the games?
Yeah, so probably one of the biggest games that everyone plays is Uno, and it's a simple card game. Most people know it, and but it's really intense. Like you keep score, so like however many cards you have at the end of each round, there's a point system, all that stuff, and it's really intense. And that's pretty much all I could say about it. But anyway, we were playing one time, and these games go like hours, like probably like 3 or 4 hours. We had like a group of probably 15 people, and it was. Do
you all play at once, or do we have like a tournament bracket like going on, like people coming in and out?
Well, everyone's playing at once, so you got a big group of people, and then once your points get up to a certain amount, you're out, and then so people keep getting eliminated, and then until you're the last one standing. Well, I was playing, and I'm holding my cards like this, and I'm like, man, I really want to win this game. So I start taking cards and just shoving them underneath the couch behind me. And I'd get a card, and I'd make sure no one was looking, and then I was shoving them underneath behind me. And then people would get out, like Spencer got out, and like my roommate Paul got out, and they see me doing this, and they think it's the funniest thing ever. So they start like kind of like helping me, like they're like taking the cards from me and stuff, and I'm putting all the cards behind me. Well, people keep getting eliminated. I keep staying in, and it's me, Nelson Brands, and his sister Sydney, and we're the last 3. And I'm still cheating. And finally I win, and they're like kind of bummed out, and they're super competitive people. And then they're like, all right, Kemerer, you got to tell them. And I stand up, and there's just a giant deck of cards right there, like just a pile of cards. And Nelson just goes, he goes, you cheated? And I go, yeah. And he just walked out. And
That
ever
was
since
frustrating
then,
because Spencer told me that this was like a 4-hour game. So like 4 hours of Uno, like the winner better be honest about it. Like I would be mad too.
oh, people were so mad, and the coaches play too. And they were like, hey, that's a lifetime ban. You're never allowed to play again. And I was like, yeah, that's probably fair enough. So it's a good story, but yeah, you'll never see me playing Uno around here again. I got the ban. No one will play with me.
No one will play Uno with you anymore. That's so sad. But you know what? You
Yeah.
deserve it. But I also think it's funny. I told Spencer, I was like, wait, he told me he helped you cheat.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, you Franklin Regional boys over here going into Iowa and just cheating everybody out of everything.
He thought it was the funniest thing ever, just because, I mean, I got to the point where I wasn't even really trying to hide it. Like, I was kind of just like looking at people and I would just do this and they like didn't notice somehow. And he thought it was the funniest thing ever. But yeah, I lost a lot of trust in that game. So it was maybe not the best thing.
I think it's also funny though, because I asked Spencer, I was like, why weren't you playing? Like, why? Like, I was just assuming he was just like spectating. So I don't think he wanted to tell me that he was one of the first people out. I think that's what
he
got
was
exposed for.
He probably kept that a secret, but I think he was one of the
too
first
busy
people
like
out.
training to win the Hajj, like not participating in Uno. Like we get it, but no, he
Yeah.
actually got out. So exposed.
Yeah. Yeah, he does lose in some stuff, just not wrestling very often.
But did he lose because we had cheaters? So.
Yeah, that's true. The whole game probably just doesn't count, but I'm going to count it as a win in my book.
There you go. I mean, not many people can say they have a ban on Uno, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about, other than Uno, I know Mafia, when I talked to Paul and I talked to Spencer, they both said Mafia is a big game. So why is that such a big game between Iowa, and are you allowed to play that one?
Yeah, I am allowed to play that. So Mafia, I'll say I've never cheated in Mafia. People might not believe me, but I've never cheated in Mafia. But
your words it's hard to take for a while, I think, after this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a fun game. It involves a lot of yelling because everyone's accusing each other of being Mafia, accusing people lying, blah blah blah. So that gets super heated, and there's this thing where every time we play, Marinelli and Paul, they get in an argument every single time. It's pretty funny. It just gets super intense. You know, we have this thing. We say Lugo is like, you know, he's got some hidden magical talent where he can just pick out. You know, I'll just be like, Lugo, what do you think? And he'll be like, that guy's Mafia, and he'll always be right. So it might be a little sketchy. I don't know if something's going on there, but
I think he might be. He may be cheating somehow, huh?
He might be. Yeah, I mean, you never know. But yeah, those games get super intense, and it gets gotten to the point now where you got to be in a certain mood to play. Like sometimes we'll bring it up, like let's play Mafia, and everyone's just like, no, like we don't need to go through that right now.
Yeah, I used to play at Penn State with some of my friends. They played the game called Werewolf, and I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's similar to a Mafia type idea, and it makes you like lie and pit people against each other, and it always ends in a screaming fight. So you have to be in the mood, because if not, like people aren't friends for a couple hours after you play some card games.
Oh, it's seriously heated, and there's some competitive people on our team, so it gets bad, but it's fun. I mean, everyone still has fun, so.
And I know there's more than just card games. There's a lot of competitions that go on. I heard that Paul wanted me to ask you about the pancake eating contest with Aaron Meyer, who is AKA the Burrito King of Iowa City. So
Yes.
I need to know first about the pancake eating competition, and then I need to know about how you get to be claimed or crowned the Burrito King.
Yeah, so the pancake competition was back when we were actually true freshmen, so we were redshirting, and so back, you know, I was like a 49-pounder. I was a little smaller back then, but I still love to eat, and Aaron Meyer loves to eat too. So I think there was some deal at IHOP or something where it was like unlimited pancakes or something. They have some deal every year, and we saw that, and we were like, oh, we should do that. But it was during wrestling season, so we were like, after season, we're gonna do it.
Right.
So finally, we went, and you still seeing me?
Yeah, I can see you now.
I just got a call. But yeah, we went to IHOP, and we had a competition, and Aaron Meyer, he came out kind of cocky, and he was getting peanut butter with his pancakes, and I was like, hey, that's kind of risky. Like, you know, you want to eat as little as you can.
That would be so hard. That would get stuck in your mouth. That's like the dumbest way to have a competition.
Yeah, I agree. So, but yeah, so we were doing 5 at a time, and finally we got to 15 pancakes each, And it was at the point where these pancakes tasted terrible. And I was like, I cannot eat another pancake. And we would have had to pay for more. So we both agreed. We're like, hey, we'll just stop there. And no one really liked the tie. You know, everyone wanted us to keep going, but I don't think we could go anymore. But it turned out to be pretty good for me because he went on to be the Burrito King of Iowa City. So that was pretty good to keep pace with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to know more about that. But how many pancakes did you end up eating then? 15?
15 each, yep.
Is that the most pancakes you've ever sat down and eat at once?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't done that since, and it made me so sick of pancakes. I don't know if I can do that again because I love pancakes.
Right. You don't want to eat something so much you don't like it anymore.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So were yours just plain pancakes? Like, what was the key to eating like 15 of them? Because he was putting peanut butter, but like, why were yours just plain?
Mine were plain. He ended up ditching the peanut butter strategy because it filled him up a little bit. But mine, I was eating them pretty much plain. And at the end, I was like doing like the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I was like dipping them in water. And I was just like swallowing them. I was like, oh, this is so bad. The first 5 was really enjoyable. I was like, this is awesome. Eating a bunch of food, but then it got bad fast. So I don't know, maybe someday.
Do you have another level of like respect now for the people in like hot dog eating competitions, like the Nathan's hot dog competition you were talking about?
Oh yeah, especially like even like watching like Man versus Food. Like I remember like when I was in high school, like I'd be watching it and I'd be like cutting weight or something, and I'd be like, oh man, like you can't eat one more bite, come on, man. And then when I was actually in the situation, I was like, I exactly know where they're coming from, because when you're done, you are done.
You are done. There's no convincing you otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh my gosh. So is that what you did when you were younger then and cutting weight? You watched other people eat food? That's a little weird.
Well, I don't know. I mean, probably every once in a while. It is kind of weird. So I don't know. Those are the younger days.
Enjoy it. Please enjoy that for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheering from the couch.
Yeah.
I grew up with a heavyweight as a brother, as you know, so I never really had to experience that side of things. Usually he was always able to eat, so.
Yeah, true. He didn't have to experience it.
Yeah, maybe towards his senior year. I'm pretty sure he had to cut weight to make heavyweight at one point, but it's another story. So the Burrito King of Iowa City, why is he the Burrito King? It's Aaron Meyer, correct? He's the Burrito
Aaron Meyer. Yeah, he's in my class. He's graduating this year. Well, he's the Burrito King because last year, this place called Estella's that opened up in Iowa City, they have these big burritos, and they came out with this promotion on Instagram, and it was like if you got a certain amount of, if you reshared the picture and got a certain amount of likes, then you could get entered in this eating competition. And Aaron was like, I was built for this. Like, I love like competitive eating. He was like literally practicing for it. So he made it, and he was in this competition, and there was like a football player in it. He was in it. Then there were like a couple other people in it. And like our whole wrestling team showed up, and it was right outside the restaurant. And we were going crazy, and they had it on film and stuff. And he looked like a professional eater. Like this burrito, I want to say it was like 5 pounds or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, maybe 3, I don't know. But he got through it fast, and he won the whole thing. And they gave him a crown and everything. They gave him a big gift card, and we were cheering. We were going crazy. We were trash talking the other people. And
what's the place called? Like, what's the place called that had this, or was this just like a festival or something?
Estella's is the restaurant. Estella's, yeah. And
so now burritos. Like, was he eating a good burrito?
I don't think he tasted it that much. Probably the way I mean, he was just putting it down. I haven't seen anything like it. It was disgusting, but we were going crazy. It was fun. Yeah, I think there should be. There probably is.
I want to see the video. If you ever find the footage, I want to see it.
Okay, yeah. It was something to see. I mean, everyone was going nuts. He had like the whole team behind him, so it was good to see him win.
Did they hang his like picture up in there or something? Like, is he still like the reigning like Burrito King of Iowa City?
I think he's the reigning. I think they probably would have had another one this summer, but with all this stuff going on, we'll have to see. But if they do it virtually, I'm sure he'll still win because he's a fast eater.
That's impressive. I don't think I could do it. Is he? So you said he's graduating. Like, is he looking in to eventually, like, is the Nathan's hot dog competition like on his bucket list, or is it more so just like the weird things he wants to go claim all over the world?
Well, I know he wants to be a chiropractor, and I don't know how much the two are related. I mean, they're pretty different, but I think he's got that talent. So if the chiropractor thing doesn't work out, I think he might have a future in that.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool hobby that could pay off later.
Exactly.
Sure. But I mean, I feel like he has to enter competitions that are relatively cheap. He doesn't have to spend money on, because you told me, and I've heard through the grapevine as well from other guys, that he's super cheap. Like, that's just like
Yes.
quality about him. Like, why is that something that stands out when you think of him?
I don't know. I mean, Aaron and his brother Alex, his older brother, was on our team too. He's a couple years older than me, and both of them are just known for being super cheap. Like we give him a hard time. Like, you know, never eats out. Like, always gets all the deals. Just does everything super cheap. And there's even like a story. So him and his roommate Justin Stickley, this is what I heard at least. They wanted to make a pizza, like a homemade pizza. And we have our refuel station in the weight room where we can get like snacks or whatever, like the athletes, and they have string cheese there. And so every day they would just take a little bit of string cheese and bring it back to their place, take a little bit of string cheese. And then I guess they were literally grating up string cheese to put on their pizza because they didn't want to go out and buy cheese. So they were just using cheese sticks, and they had a bunch of cheese sticks, and they were just grating it for pizza. So we were like, man, if you don't want to spend money on cheese, that's another level of cheap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we give him a hard time for that.
Well, no wonder he likes eating all the free food then. Like, it actually like makes sense. Or the fact that he like doesn't taste anything when he eats it, because I can't imagine like that would be like the best tasting pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's really happy to save a buck, him and his brother. So we give him a hard time about it. It's pretty funny.
You know what? Well, we're in tough times, so I hope they have a lot of money saved up and they can be looking at you and being like, well, wish you would have grated your string cheese, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that they're fine right now.
So there seems to be some interesting things that your team gets themselves into, to say the least. And I don't know if it's because, in my opinion, I think Iowa, I can't judge it because I've never been to the university, but when my experience being in Iowa was horrible. Like, there is nothing to do. And I think I live in the middle of nowhere until I went to Iowa, and all I saw was like cornfields and dirt roads, and like you had to drive like 20 minutes to even see like the next person. So what are some things, like, if you had to sit down and change my mind about Iowa, like what are some of the best things to do in Iowa?
Well, I think a lot of it is depending on where you are in Iowa. So Iowa City is like, you know, a college town. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of like good restaurants. You know, the summer they have a lot of, you know, different like festivals and stuff like that. The downtown's super nice. So there's really a lot of stuff to do. And then the good thing about it too is there is a lot of country. So if you want to go out in the country and hunt or fish or, you know, do whatever. I mean, you know, a lot of the guys from our team from Iowa, they're from out in the country. So you kind of get both. You know, you can stay in the college town and have all that stuff. And, you know, there's Iowa City and Coralville and all these places that are pretty populated, I mean, for Iowa. And then you have the stuff out there, the farm stuff and all that stuff. So it's a good mix. And then the other thing is that they love wrestling and they love the Hawkeyes. So, you know, we love that.
Oh, so you're like famous is what you're saying. Like, it's good to go somewhere because people know me.
I'm not saying that, but they appreciate it. They appreciate our team, and that's cool.
That's good. We love people that appreciate wrestling, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Do you consider yourself like a country boy now? Like, I know you grew up in Murraysville, which is it's a little urban, like more suburban area, but do you consider yourself a country boy now that you've been exposed to the country of Iowa? Country life of Iowa, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a country boy, but I've been exposed to a little more of it. Like, you know, I used to listen to like the country music that was just on the radio, and I've been exposed to like all these older country artists I didn't even know existed. And so like I find myself listening to music that if I stayed in Murraysville, there's no way I would have known what it was. And I do like to go out.
You are cultured now.
I'm cultured, yeah, exactly. And it's good though. I mean, yeah, and I'd say I like to do some of that stuff out in the country, but I wouldn't say I'm full on like, yeah, I'm ready to go out and live in the middle of nowhere. I wouldn't say I've gotten to that point. So we'll see. We'll see if I get a couple more years maybe, but we'll see.
Do they think you talk funny? Because when I was in Iowa, a lot of my like Pittsburghese came out, and I'd be like, what you doing? Where you going? And they'd be like, what language are you speaking? Because everybody that I met like kind of talked really formal. It would be like, what are you doing? Like, where are you going? Like, everything was perfectly pronounced. Like, the pronunciation of things was absurd. Like, do they think you talk funny?
They definitely did, especially when I first got here. And it was stuff that I didn't even notice, but like they just thought that I said certain words funny. And there's even like the whole state versus states argument.
Yes.
You know, they say state, Pennsylvania, we say states,
Right.
stuff like we say tournament, they say tournament. So different stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess as I've been out here longer, I think I've started to go the other way. And like, I'll talk to some people back in Pennsylvania and they'll be like, hey, you doing that on purpose? You're kind of talking funny. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I have no idea. So I think I've kind of got like a mix now of that Pittsburghese and then the Midwest Iowa talk. So I probably got my own little accent now.
Yeah, that definitely is something. The state and states thing, I never even realized was a thing, because when we talked about wrestling states, like in high school, it was states. And even at Penn State, people would be like, what are you saying? Like, state. I'm like, no, it's not it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm outnumbered out here on that argument. So I just kind of have to just sit quiet and listen because I'm definitely outnumbered.
Do they say soda or do they say pop?
They say pop.
Okay, that's good.
Pop. Yep. Yep. So that's good. We're on the same page there.
Yeah, the soda thing makes me cringe a little bit. I'm like, it's pop.
Yeah, it's weird.
Pop. Yes, I know. I just thought that was like so funny, because even like I think I said gyro for a while too, and
Oh yeah.
the euro, and like people were like, what did she just say? So I felt like a little weird being there. I was like, okay, like I'm speaking a totally different language. So I was curious to see how you adapted to that.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. Which I don't know, like I guess it was me, I don't know, maybe like stereotyping Iowa a little bit. When I went there, I felt like they were gonna talk like more hick than I did, but was wrong on that one. So sorry,
Yeah.
Iowa, because my hick came out so bad.
Different kind of hick, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of like interesting things going on in Iowa, you said everybody loves Hawkeye wrestling, and that is absolutely without a doubt like evident, especially in Carver Hawkeye Arena. So what has been the best part about getting to wrestle in front of that crowd?
I just think that it's just rewarding. Like wrestling is not one of those main sports like football, basketball, and where anywhere you go. I mean, if you're good at football, you're good at basketball. Everyone supports it, but wrestling, it's a little bit different. A lot of the stuff that you do, it's not really rewarded by fans in some places. And here, I mean, pretty much everyone in Iowa has at least like wrestled at some point, and they're like exposed to it. They know a lot more.
Right.
They just I think they're just all like exposed to it because of the culture. There's less people, and it's just kind of in their blood, I guess. So it's just cool to see all that hard work, rewarded when you got people supporting you, and even just like on campus, like people in class with you or whatever, and they're congratulating you, or they're just saying how they're watching you, and it's cool to be rewarded like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do admire the fact like when schools that are known for wrestling like have those big crowds. Like obviously I went to Penn State, and that fan base is incredible too, like the Penn State Iowa
Right.
back and forth there. So I can only imagine like being an athlete and getting to do that. And personally, I know you were saying that's like been your dream since you've been like really little. So that has to be like the coolest feeling to like walk in there and be like, this is like what I've dreamed of.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have like a blanket that my grandma made me in like 5th grade or 6th grade. It's an Iowa blanket. So I've loved Iowa wrestling for a while. So to be a part of it now, I mean, feels good to accomplish that, and now it's just kind of moving on to the next thing. Like, all right, I'm wrestling for Iowa now. I want to win some titles for Iowa. So it's been a good experience though.
I have to ask something that's like a moment bigger than sports that I really admire about Iowa and the university in general is the Wave to Children's Hospital during the football games. And I think that's on my bucket list to be a part of one day. Like, I think that is just the coolest thing where like sports just stop and like you guys like recognize something that's just like going on that's so much bigger. Have you been able to be a part of the Wave?
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I mean, especially just seeing like the kids up in the top and them holding signs and stuff and watching, it gives them something to look forward to. And, it just makes you think about, it's exactly right. It makes you think about it being bigger than sports. I mean, you see even like the other team down the sideline, they're doing it too, because the sports can seem so big while you're in it. And it's cool just to see everyone, push that aside and look at, what the really important things in life. And there's just a lot of good people in the community, and good medical community there, and it's cool to see it all come together like that.
Yeah, shout out to the medical community right now and everything they're doing through this too. But that's just something really cool that I was really hoping that you got to take part in, because I wanted to like live through you for a moment, because that's something I like personally want to do so badly, just because I think it's a really cool thing to put into perspective for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, awesome. So one thing I have to ask, I think for the Iowa wrestling fans out there, the Brands brothers are total personality 24/7 in the wrestling community. They're known for being so energetic all the time. So when you're in the Iowa wrestling room, you're saying it was been your dream since you were younger, and then you really got to experience it. And I know not all of it goes probably the way you expect it to. So what's been the most interesting thing about wrestling for the Brands brothers?
I don't know. I mean, they're just they are what they are. Like, it's not, there's no politically correctness or anything like that. It's they're very open with who they are, and who you see, what you see in an interview is what you see in the wrestling room. It's what you see when they're at home, and so that's been really cool to see. And it's just been cool to have a relationship with them. I mean, they've seen it all at the highest levels, and they they really care about their athletes a lot, and it's cool to be a part of that. Watching that, I could always kind of see that, but now being a part of that and having them looking out for me, it feels really good.
Do they have any weird quirks or anything that they do that to the public eye, like nobody would really see?
Like I said, they're pretty much what you see. I just think the biggest thing is that I learned is like that they're just different people, and a lot of people, they talk about like they just refer to them as the Brands, and just being here, there's Terry and Tom, and they're just different people, and sometimes you don't even think of that because they're both so intense and so high energy and passionate. But just learning that they're just a little bit different, that's been interesting.
Well, they're definitely doing something right over there for the Iowa Hawkeyes, and you guys seem to be one of the most interesting teams for sure. I love the wrestling community. I think wrestlers are so fascinating, and this entire conversation just sort of hits the nail on the head with that. So, Michael, thank you so much for sharing all your Iowa Hawkeye stories with us today.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
You're so welcome, and I hope that your lifetime ban may not be a lifetime ban forever, especially during quarantine. Like, if everybody's playing Uno, I would really hope they let you, slide once.
I got to have good behavior, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll get out of it.
It's gonna be taking you back to elementary school. You're in the red light right now. You got to move to the green eventually.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. This has been Hear Them Out with Hannah Mears.